for past 6-7 years, we were very focused on what we were trying to achieve, and then we lost our focus because I don't know, for whatever reason.
Hi everyone, welcome to Scalable, a podcast by COLABS. Today we've got Usman Butt with us, who's the founder and CEO of RepairDesk, a software as a service startup that serves mobile repair shops across the world. What's really interesting about RepairDesk is that they've been able to build a profitable startup out of Pakistan. Usman has been building this for many years, so we're very excited to learn more about his journey and how he built and scaled this software startup out of Pakistan and is serving customers across the world, especially in the United States. Thank you so much, Usman, for coming here today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invite.
How are you? How was your trip in Skardu? How was your trip to Skardu?
Doing pretty well since we are profitable, given the macroeconomic condition in the world. But our trip was great. We went to Skardu with quite a lot of our team members. We flew in there, spent 4 days. That's why I look a little tan. And yeah, I mean, it was good fun.
Right. Let's just start with the usual question. I would love to learn, more about yourself, your journey, and how did you end up starting RepairDesk?
Sure. I do get asked that question a lot, since there are not a lot of SaaS companies working out of Pakistan. So I graduated back in 2009 from Punjab University. I studied bachelor's in business and IT with a majors in finance. I wasn't good at any of those. I studied programming as well, but I was kind of a student who will take login page code from one of my friends and then registration page code from another friend, combine it, and then show it to my teacher. Probably 90% of the student does that anyway. So I graduated back in 2009. I went to a software house. It was a small firm, and then they were selling websites over there. I started in sales. I worked there for 3 months, and my brother, who was my mentor at the time, I spoke to him, and I was like, I'm doing cold calling, where you reach out to customers who are not expecting your call. And I said, I'm not, having a lot of fun. And he was like, no, you should work there because people in sales are the richest people in the world. I was like, yeah, you're sitting in Canada having all the fun, and I'm in Pakistan. It's hot, and there's not a lot of fun. So, but I somehow listened to his advice. 6 months, we had a similar conversation. After 9 months, I started doing freelancing. All of a sudden, my paycheck at the time was 30,000 rupees.
When was this?
2010. And
Right.
I started doing freelancing, and all of a sudden, I was like making $3,000 at that time, which
Wow.
is still a lot of money right now. But
Right.
that was 2010. But all of that money was going to my brother's account, and he was very...
What exactly were you doing when you say you were freelancing?
So-
What were you offering?
I was offering the same service I was doing at my company, selling websites for companies
So you
outside
were
Pakistan.
basically offering a sales agent as a freelance service to companies.
Companies outside Pakistan, and then I was using the same people who are working with me. I don't know if it's legal or not, but yeah, I was doing that. These were not sales inquiries from our company. I used to find them on different platforms or through referrals. So I worked in a software house for 15 months, and I quickly realized that what I'm doing for them, I can do it at my own. I started my first company back in 2011, 1st January. It was a 150 square feet office. So, and we were offering the same service. We were cash flow positive. For me, running a cash flow positive business from day one is very important. So we did that business for 4 years. We developed few products at that time as well.
When you say you did that business for 4 years, tell us a little bit more about that business. You were building websites for clients in the US?
Yes. So our website name was Web Creation.
Okay.
So what we did was we optimized it, and it used to show up on first page of Google whenever you search for website creation.
Right.
And it was a very popular keyword. There was another firm. So we carefully chose that domain, webcreation.us. There was another firm with the name webcreation.com. So we used to get a lot of traffic and customers from there as well. So everything all organic. So every month we get some inquiries, we convert them, and business was doing well.
Right. So you were not cold calling people to get customers for your first business that you were doing. I mean,
from day one, I've been very focused on, because cold calling is not fun. So
Obviously, yeah.
I've been very focused on using the power of Google to acquire customers. And honestly, we were not going to any websites like Upwork or Freelancer. I like operating in niche. So we have online store platforms like Shopify and Magento and WordPress, WooCommerce. At that time, we were very specialized on a very small company. At the time, it's basically based out of UK. The company name is CubeCard. So we were offering custom module development for them, and we used to get a lot of inquiries because there was no developer who was working on that platform.
Interesting. So web creation was basically only offering services for this particular product.
Correct.
Right. Very interesting. Okay. Please carry on. And what happened after that?
So
You did that for 4 years, and
I
then
did that for 4 years. One of the products we developed was we created we started another company called Mods Index. So what we were doing at Mods Index is we were creating different plugins for CubeCard that supercharge the basic functionality of CubeCard.
Right. Okay.
Customer will find us and say, "Can you install it?" We install the plugin, and then we had a connection to offer them additional services if they needed.
Right.
So business was good. At the time, I had a revenue of around $8,000-9,000. At that time, it was good. We had a team.
What was the size of your team? Yeah.
8-9 people.
Right.
And then $3,000 to $4,000 I used to save, and then use that money to travel abroad.
Okay.
And then
Was that for fun or business?
mostly for fun.
Right.
I used to go to Saudi Arab, so you can just eat and
Right.
pray and just have a little bit
Right.
shopping over there. So business was good, but it was at the start of 2014, what I realized was that service business is great, but every now and then you have to go and acquire new customers. And which was not fun. And there was a lot of freelancers coming in, and I realized that
there was not enough revenue coming in from the products that you had built while serving these customers, the plugins that you were talking about.
The plugin was like for $60, $100, and
one-time fee or subscription?
One-time fee.
Okay.
At that time, I had no idea about
subscription-based revenue.
How fun is subscription is.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So at the time, I realized that we need to develop our own product. And how I realized was I went to LUMS, very popular university in Pakistan.
Yeah, obviously.
And there was a guy over there who was visiting from Silicon Valley, and he had developed his product, and I found his session very inspirational, and I was like, I'm going to develop my own product. I had no idea what I'm going to do at the time.
This was a Pakistani who was visiting?
No, it was an American who was visiting Pakistan. And it was so refreshing to see. At that time, there were not a lot of companies who have developed their own product. So I went back, and then one of my brother who moved to Australia, he had opened cell phone repair stores over there. And he was like, why don't you develop a CRM for cell phone repair stores? And I was like, okay, we can explore that. And then we looked around. There were very few companies who were doing it, and then we decided to just build one.
When was this?
That was 2014. We already had a team of 7-8 people, but we had no experience of building cloud. We didn't even know what cloud is, what point of sale software is. We just wanted to do something at our own and put Pakistan on the world map.
Right. So that's when you started building RepairDesk. That's where the journey started.
Yes. So and it was very funny that we didn't know which software language to use. So we had one programmer. We said, okay, why don't you learn this language? And for one entire month, she learned the language, and then she started writing the code late in 2014 November. And so yeah, that's when we started working on it.
So your first version was built by a woman, a female software engineer.
Yes, that is correct. So she was our lead engineer for almost like 3-4 years, and then she found a job in government, and she left us, and now she was replaced by someone else.
Right. Okay. And so you built the software. Now you had to find customers. What did you do for that?
So we started developing in November, and then we launched our beta in late February. I still remember.
Okay, sorry for interrupting, but let me try to understand this. You started building in November, and then the software was ready a few months later. But when you started building it, who were the people you were speaking with to understand what is it that a customer is going to need in this particular piece of software? Was it just your brother who had suggested the idea, or had you tried speaking to other potential customers as well in the process?
Sure. So basically, before my brother moved to Australia, he also had a cell phone repair store in Hall Road, Pakistan.
Right.
So
Okay.
when I was in college, I used to go over there and make some extra money by working over there.
Right. Okay.
And then in 2013, I was also running a network unlocking website where, let's say, if you bought a phone from US and you want to get it unlocked, we do that for you. We did that for a couple of years, and what we used to do, we used to call cell phone repair shops and say, hey, if you have customers, we can help you unlock these phones. So we had a database of around 1,000 customers who were using our platform on occasional basis. So
these were customers in Pakistan, in the US.
I've never worked in Pakistan because
so these were the customers in the US for even the cell phone unlocking.
So most of our customers were from Australia,
right, okay.
UK, Canada, Europe, and some
Okay.
are from US as well. But
Okay.
but yeah. So by working with them, we had some knowledge about the cell phone repair industry, but and we built a very very basic
Right.
ticketing system from one of the companies. But my brother just gave me an idea, and that's it. We looked at competing products and say, okay, how can we do a better job at that? So,
Right, okay.
So that's how, we didn't do a lot of customer interviews. We should
In the
have done
beginning,
that.
right, okay.
So when we launched our beta version in February, I remember we went to Burger King to celebrate it because that's all the money we had at the time. And there were not a lot of great options available as well.
So this was in 2015?
That was in 2015, February.
Okay. I don't know why. Now that you mentioned Burger King, I'm trying to remember when did they come to Pakistan. It has been 8 years already.
Probably at the time it was very popular, and I ordered a Hooper. I guess that's what they call it. But yeah, we launched it, and I still remember when we launched it. When we created a website, I wrote content for my website. I optimized it myself, on-page optimization, and since there was very less competition in this vertical, all of a sudden our website was on first page of Google, and we started receiving inquiries from customers.
First page for keywords like what?
People were searching for keywords like cell phone repair shop, POS software, or POS software for repair shop, and we get inquiries. So, and luckily we got into Lump Center for Entrepreneurship as well at the time. I believe that was one of the most interesting thing that happened in my entrepreneurship journey, because that was like a master's in entrepreneurship program for me. And then we spent 4 or 5 months over there, learned about how to raise capital and how you should go about marketing your business. But one of the good thing was there was access to a lot of advisory over there. I get a chance to meet with Yasir Bashir from Arbisoft and Umair from Texas. So they come in, they share their input on. Before that, I didn't have access to that. So that program really helped me understand and get access to these advisors.
Right. So when you launched, the first set of customers came from search engines?
That is correct. So I remember that all of our customers were organic, and that happens still today.
But no, so I'm trying to understand this. You launched the software, and now you're waiting to get ranked on Google before you start onboarding the customers, or you
Sure.
had started building this content that you're talking about that you wrote yourself while you were building the software, so you get ranked.
So it was a two-step process. One, we already had a database of about
Yes, okay.
1,000 repair shop
So
owners.
you were reaching out to these as well?
We were reaching out to those, and then we were getting customers from Google as well.
Right.
So, and one of the good thing was the database of 1,000 customers we had 700 or 1,000. They already knew we are offering them some service. So we had some sort of relationship with them, and they had this pain point. And it was a huge boom in self-repair industry where there was iPhone 5, iPhone 6 at the time. You'll buy a screen from China for 15 or 20 bucks. You change it for $100 or $150, and margins were really good. At that time, so it was like a gold rush for iPhone repair industry.
Right. Okay. So now that you were, getting these customer inquiries, how did you, sort of pitch it to them during the first call, or like, was it, were they onboarding by themselves? How did you decide on pricing?
Sure. So interestingly, one thing that really helped me was my exposure to international sales. So prior to building RepairDesk, I was doing sales for my business. So whenever a customer filled up a
so your brother's advice really helped you there.
Yes. So I was whenever a customer signs up, I proactively reaches out to my customers, and I used to give a demo to our customers because that wasn't something new to me. So, but one thing that really, I won't say that really helped me, but I used to sit in Lum's office and say, it's my personal office. So,
okay.
You have to cut some corners. So, but yeah, it was interesting that I was doing sales because we were getting inquiries from different time zones, Australia and US and UK. So I remember that I was working in the daytime with my team, and then in the night time, I had to do these calls. So as a founder, you wear multiple hats.
You were the only one making these calls, or you had others in your company?
For first 100 customers, I was the one who acquired these customers and serviced them. So, but once we had like 100 customers, then we hired our first sales team member.
And how did you decide on pricing? And what did you price it at back then?
So we looked at our competition. I don't remember how much they were charging at that point, but we decided that we are going to offer the similar service at much cheaper. Cheaper is a strong word, but cost effective and offer a better service. So when we launched the software without doing customer interviews, we realized that obviously we're building something that is better than our competition, but it lacked a lot of features. So one thing I would suggest founders who plan to build something is, before you start writing code, speak to potential customers to learn if this is a problem that is worth solving.
Right. Okay. And once you had these 100 customers, first of all, how long did it take to get to these 100 customers, and what were some of the biggest lessons you learned in the process of acquiring these first 100 customers?
Sure. So I was in Lounge, and so we launched the beta in February or March, and then we were.
This is 2015.
2015, and we were a few months into the beta program, and no one was willing to pay for the software, and we were just building. And
so technically these were users; they were not customers.
They were users; they were not customer. I remember one guy. I forgot the name of the company, but he came in. He was the director for SAP in Pakistan and Afghanistan, Sajjad Saeed. And I'm really thankful for him for his advice he shared with all of us. He said one of the problem with companies in Pakistan, that when they develop a software, they're like, we'll launch the paid version when these two features are available. 6 months pass by, and then they say, oh, we need these 2 additional features to launch it. And the entire process takes about 1.5 to 2 years, and then what end up happening is that the product is not launched, and then a competitor will come in, he'll win the market. And it really resonated with me, and I was like, we had some users, we're going to launch the paid version. In 1 week, we integrated with my sister-in-law PayPal account. I didn't have a merchant account. And we said to all of our users, if you want to continue to use the software, you have to pay for it. So we started charging like $40 at the time.
This is per month.
This is per month, $40 per month in 2015.
Right.
So first month we were able to acquire 6 paid customers. Next month 7 paid customers. Next month 6 paid customers, and took us about 1 year, 1.5 years to get to 100 paid customers. At that time, I was self-funding the project. So I had still the service business. So I was making some money from there.
The service business was web creation?
Web creation. So
Right.
I was web creation and network unlocking business. So I was taking money, and I decided that once we reach to cash flow positiveness, we will shut down the business. So in 2016, we were at $5,000 MRR, and one of the guy I met on LinkedIn, he was selling cell phone parts in US. It was quite a big company. He decided to invest some money at that point in our business. He invested like $40,000. But it took me a year to get that money because we were trying to open a bank account, and at that point,
did you actually need that money, or you just went ahead with it because somebody offered it?
Honestly, I didn't need that money because I had.
It was a profitable business even
back then. It was
back
a profitable business, and I was running my services business, and I was generating. But since he had access to customers in US,
right? Okay.
And his advice.
So it was more of a strategic partnership than an investment.
Exactly, and we were learning from Lums that you need to raise capital. I ended up giving 20% of our business for just $40,000 at that point.
I think that program should be held responsible for that. You shouldn't have actually given.
I have better news for you. So in 2019, we ended up purchasing back his equity by giving a 4.5x return because we wanted to buy a house, and
right.
That was
Okay.
one
So
of the best.
Not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal for both of us.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So this happened, and you had those first 100 customers. You obviously had to hustle your way to get to these first 100 customers. What happened after that? Like, how did you start the next phase of because whenever we hear about SaaS, there are obviously certain milestones.
Sure.
$8,333 per of monthly recurring revenue is a big milestone. I'm not sure if I'm getting the number right, which translates into $100,000 of annual recurring revenue, and then again the same, getting to $1 million in recurring revenue. The first 100 customers is also a big milestone. So how did you shape the journey after that? What were the biggest lessons that you had learned, and how did you incorporate them for the future versions or of the software and the company as well?
Sure. So one of the interesting thing was when I was in part of the incubation program, not a lot of people used to pay attention to what we were building because everyone was building an online store and or
something focused on Pakistan.
Something focused on Pakistan. So, and I used to, I know that mentors.
Do you remember names of any of the companies that were in the same batch? Are they still alive?
Some of them. One of our company, Beauty Hook, she raised about $280,000.
Right.
She was doing a good business at the time, and
I'm not sure if they're still around. But yeah,
I used to think that. And I wasn't very good at pitching to investors at the time, and still today, I guess.
Why is that the case? When you say that, you are, you had become good at sales. Why were you not good at pitching, your company to investors?
Maybe I didn't pay much attention to business communication when I was in university, and I wasn't good at giving presentations at the time. I still feel I suck at it today.
This is interesting. So you are not good at, delivering those presentations, but you're good at selling your product.
I'm more of a one-on-one person.
Right. Okay. Got it.
So, but yeah, the investors will come in, and then people start lying over there, giving fake numbers, and I used to try. I tried that as well, but it didn't work out for me, I would say. And people had no idea what SaaS is, and I always used to think one day I'll build a business that you will really think you'll say, okay, he has built something. And I remember one validation I received was Google invited some startup from Pakistan to Singapore, and there was 10 companies. We went over there, and we all pitched over there, shared our ideas, and one of the Khurram Khalil Jilali, who left Google.
Yeah, I
he
think
asked,
he's with Rain now. I mean,
yeah,
the founder of Rain.
yeah. So he asked, what do you think about these startups? He said the idea is okay, but I mean, RepairDesk is something which can be scaled, and that gave me a lot of motivation at the time.
Right.
I was like, finally, someone understands it. At
Right.
that time, we had like 90 customers. We had some validation. So I mean, going back to your question on what was the journey like, I mean, we were very fortunate to be very innocent that, okay, I mean, we just wanted to keep our head down, keep building the business, and there was a lot of resilience, relentlessness, where we fall down, we get back up. One thing that is available to founders today is a lot of advice there are a lot of product managers, there software. Back at that time, there was not a lot of talent for product, so we had to learn everything. We didn't even know that. I mean, technology is not our core at that point. I still feel that we are better at sales and marketing than technology. I wish I had invested more in technology in the early days, so we had a solid foundation. But I remember my brother told me that if you have 100 customers, that would be nice for you. I was like, no, at least 1,000. I should have 1,000 customers. So my goal was always to acquire at least 1,000 customers. And once we got there, I was like, okay, we need to have 10,000 customers now. So it's just that we just kept our head down and we wanted to build something big out of Pakistan. I'm a patriot, I hope so. And always wanted to Pakistan se we should build something big out of Pakistan. So we are a country where we import software, and I wanted to set an example that even that if you don't know coding, you don't know programming, you can still build a tech business where you build a software and you can sell successfully out of Pakistan. So that was my motivation, and that worked out pretty well for me.
Right. Okay. You mentioned that as part of your program that you were enrolled in, the incubation program that you were part of. You'd also learned about raising capital, and you got that inbound from somebody who wanted to invest 40,000. You accepted that money because there was a strategic angle the person could have helped you with because of the business that he was running to potentially find a lot of new customers. But did at any point after that you try to raise capital, or were you happy with running a profitable business and scaling it with the money that is that you're earning from the customers? Yes.
It. So we had some very interesting conversations. I remember that there was a demo day at that time. All of the companies were pre-revenue. We had a revenue of $1,000 at that time. System Limited wanted to invest $150,000. They asked for 25
in RepairDesk.
In RepairDesk, we had several conversations with them. They wanted a quarter of the company. Were like, no, we want to give 20% of the equity.
So they did not invest because of the 5% that
because of the 5%. Then I had a conversation with Rabil as well.
Sarmayakar.
And again, he wanted like 30% of the equity. I was like, no, we can give you 25.
30% for how much?
For $200,000. And
right.
Then I had a conversation with Khurram Zafar from 47 Ventures.
Right.
He said probably $300,000 and we'll give you like 30%, 35% equity. We'll take it, and you can take more money. And Khurram was my mentor, and I mean, I really used to look at Lams and used to look up to him, and still do. So we said, no, we can give you like 30%. So all these times, I mean, I was restricting myself for that extra 5%. I'm happy I didn't went for that. So we had some opportunities where we can raise money, but we didn't do that, and just put our head down and keep.
Was it actually about that extra 5%, or
yes.
were you like? I mean,
that was the extra 5%.
It was always about that.
Yes.
So it was sort of a blessing in disguise that that you did not raise that capital because you've been able to do well without raising money. I mean, at that time.
Yes, absolutely. And after this conversation in 2017, we were like, let's just focus on work, and then
This was in 2017.
this
All
was
these
in-
conversations.
all these conversations were 2016, 17, and we were growing the company. We were like, we don't need money. I mean, the business is growing at a decent pace, and we just need to focus on growing the company. And we were not very. We were building. We were focused on building the right product, creating value for customers, and then just working very closely with the customer. And we did that, and we still do that today.
Right. So it took you about 12 to 18 months to get to the first 100 customers. Then how long did it take to get to the first 1,000 customers?
So I believe I don't have the right number in my mind, and probably by end of 2018 or maybe mid of 2018, we were at 1,000 customers.
That would be another 18 to 24 months to add 900 new customers.
Yes.
And what was the churn like in the beginning? And what did you think of it? How were you dealing with it? Because this is one of the biggest concerns of any SaaS business when they see the customers churning out.
So unless we go to 1,000 customers, I mean, I still remember that when we go to 500 customers, we still had like for sales 1 or 2 people, and we were adding like 80 customers per month. And once we went to 800,000 customers, all of a sudden we saw that okay, people are canceling their account, and we were like, why they're canceling it? Because and then we realized that okay, we need to learn about customer success, customer support. At that time, we didn't know about it. I mean,
you didn't have a team that
we didn't
was
have a team
focusing on retention or
anything. It was all manual. We were just offering customer support, and then we realized okay, we need to do a better job on onboarding these customers. In platform, we have added a lot of features at that time, and I mean, churn wasn't that bad. I don't have a number to quote at the time. Probably, we acquire 80 customers, 15, 20 will leave us.
Right.
Churn wasn't that bad at the time.
Right. Okay. And let's talk about today. We'll skip the few years between 2018 to
Sure.
where we are at today. What are the numbers like today? Are you happy with the progress you've made over the last few years? What do you think you could have done differently?
I'm satisfied with what we have achieved so far. I mean, God has been very kind. So right now we service like more than 3,000 locations around the world.
When you say 3,000 locations, you mean 3,000 stores,
3,000
mobile repair shops that you serve?
Mobile repair shops, and
and these are mostly small businesses run by one person, or these are like enterprise customers who have multiple repair shops
Sure.
in different locations?
So we work with companies who have 1 or 2 stores, to mid-market to all the way to enterprise customers, like who has like 50 or 100 stores. So we
Right.
service all type of customers. Initially, we were very focused on cell phone repair store, but now we are trying to we are expanding into some of the other verticals as well, like watch repair store, jewelry repair store, power tool repair store, because the workflow is pretty similar over there. They have the similar needs where there's not a software that is purposely built for the industry, so we are trying to make it slightly generic as well. There are a lot of lessons over there, but in terms of revenue, we are at $3 million in cash revenue, and
This is annual.
this is annual. So we don't just now sell software. We also offer some other services as well. Like we offer.
But software is still bringing the biggest chunk of the revenue.
Software
for you.
is like 75 to 80% of our business.
Right.
And then we also sell credit card processing as well.
Right.
So in the US, so similar to you go to a shop over here, and then they have a terminal for HPL.
Right.
So we offer the service. So, and eventually our goal is that we want to be someone like Square, where we build our own payments rail and offer this to customers in repair industry.
Right. So you've obviously made a lot of progress. You're serving 3,000 stores across the world, most of which I think are in the US, and you're at $3 million of annual recurring revenue. What have been some of the biggest challenges of growing this business from Pakistan? I mean, obviously any SaaS business would face any challenge, but I'd love for you to touch upon those that are very specific to being operating from Pakistan.
Sure. So in the early days, when we started, there was no first base. So where you can using which you can incorporate a company and open a bank account. It took me a year to open a bank account. I believe that was one of the biggest hurdles. Second is there's not a
And
lot.
obviously, you used your sister-in-law's PayPal
account.
get
I used that for
first.
1 year, and
Right.
then to get my investor money, I was so frustrated. I said, I don't need your money unless you help me open a bank account. And he talked to his branch manager, and then she helped. So that really, and then there was not talent for SaaS available in Pakistan
Back then.
I still feel there are not a lot of product managers who have worked on a SaaS product, successful SaaS products, not
Right.
not just products. But the good thing is there is talent available as well. I believe one of the things that we could have done differently was that we didn't invested a lot in our technology. So eventually, what ended up happening was we had a spec-D code where,
Okay.
and that's a challenge that really stopped us from scaling our infrastructure.
Right.
And I believe we could have double or triple our revenue if we had a slightly better product. There's a great demand for our product in different industries, but we haven't been able to scale our product.
Have you been able to fix that now, or is that still an issue?
So interestingly, back in 2021 or before COVID, when COVID started, we worked with a lot of independent repair stores, and Apple shut down its stores. So independent repair stores business grew like tremendously, and that really helped us. Within 6 months, we were able to double our revenue, and then we started building another version of RepairDesk. Which was a mistake for us. Rather than fixing the entire version in an iterative way, we started building another version, and then
From scratch.
From scratch.
Right.
It's been like 2 years, and we're still building it. There's very less traction over there.
You're selling it as a separate product?
It hurts me so.
Okay. We'll skip that.
Yeah. So let's. And then we made a lot of mistakes. Like we started working on an app store and marketplace, and then launching a phone system and digital marketing services to these repair shop owners.
So you were not very focused during the last 2 years.
We were not very focused, and
that's a mistake.
That's a mistake that really hurt us, because for past 6-7 years we were very focused on what we were trying to achieve, and then we lost our focus because. I don't know, for whatever reason, we hired a lot of talent, young talent, and they wanted to do things at their own way. And then we realized, no, we just need to do very few things and do it really well. So one of my advice is to always stay focused. And recently we realized we were doing a lot of things. Everything is manual. And in order for us to, I was running a company where I had a thing in my mind that, okay, in a couple of years, I'll just flip the company, get rich, retire, and then live a retired life. But then I realized that it's a cash flow positive business. I don't need to sell it. I just need to automate it so I can, it can run without me. And now our focus is just to digitize, document. They bring digital transformation in our business, so we can scale the business to a way where we build product on top of RepairDesk, and then eventually spin it off, like payments rails, unified inbox,
right,
things like that. So very excited. Now my goal is to just be like Zoho, where you have a suite of different products and run the business for the next 15 years, and let's see what happens after that.
Right. This is super interesting. I wish you the best of luck with that. Considering where you are at today, apart from making this mistake early on that you did not invest enough in technology, and then perhaps making the mistake where you maybe invested a bit too much in technology by completely designing the product from scratch.
Sure.
What has been some of the biggest mistakes, apart from these two, that you've made as a software business?
Sure. I believe bringing the right people early, if you can afford, you should get a lot of advice. So I was a solo founder, and then I made co-founder I added two co-founders recently who were with me from early days. The job of the founder is to take the company from from zero to $1 to $3 million, and then you need to bring on people who are invested in your business, and they can take from 3 to 10 million, or 3 to 5 and 10 million. I believe that was one of the mistakes we didn't do. That was one of the mistakes we did. Recently, we hired a VP of sales in US. Cost me a lot of money, but gives me a lot of saves me from a lot of headaches. Where he's leading the sales team out of US in Pakistan, and now our goal is to build sales team across the world, where we are selling software. We have sales person in Australia, UK, South Africa. So big as long I mean. I feel you need to stay lean as possible throughout your journey. We went from 50 to 120 people. We didn't have any.
This is the strength of your company today, 120 people?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
We went in 2021, we went from 50 to 120 people. We didn't have a structure in place. So having those structures are very important. Bringing people like chief of staff, or we still don't have it. Like you need to have your culture where people know you need to have a shared vision, so people know what you're working towards. But still, we are fortunate to work in a market where there's a lot less competition, and I believe if someone developed a better product, it could have given us a really hard time. But one thing that we do really, really well is our customer service. If you ask anyone what is really good about RepairDesk, is our customer service. If you go to our live chat, someone will be with you within 20 seconds. So we have like close to 400, 500 reviews, mostly positive, not generated through ChatGPT.
Is this on Trustpilot?
We have about 267 on Trustpilot, 187 on Capterra.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. So if it's a startup, I mean, when they want to hire talent or when they want to retain them, one of the things that they would use to to pitch to this talent is stock options.
Sure.
As a bootstrapped company, do you have stock options, and how does it work? I mean, if you don't have stock options, how do you recruit? What is it that you offer them apart from the compensation, obviously the regular cash compensation that the employees get?
So we do a lot of things at RepairDesk. We give stock options. We pay salary in dollars to some of the team members. I mean, who are working in the leadership position. So there's and then we have quarterly bonuses. We have mid-year reviews. So all the fun stuff. We have our in-house gym as well. I don't go to that. But some of our team members does, and so we do all of that. But in early days, we had nothing. One thing I did was we worked in a technology where it was easier to hire software engineers at a much cost-effective price. But that came to bite us later on, where we used a different technology. In early days, I believe founders should not care about equity. Their focus should be building a product and adding value to the customers. And even if you have to give up 5, 10%, 20%, 30% equity in early days, do that to bring the right kind of talent, but obviously have a vesting schedule in place, so they don't get it right away. Equity is nothing. Your goal should not be to build a billion. Everyone thinks about building a $1 billion business over here. We haven't seen a $1 billion business till yet. I believe our focus should be to build a $1 million, $1 million micro SaaS business. And once you get to that stage, you can see how you can scale it from there.
Right. I mean, that's a brilliant piece of advice. A lot of us are obviously focused on building very large businesses when we haven't done the basic yet, when we haven't even built maybe even $100,000 business, and we're thinking about billion dollar companies. Obviously, people should be ambitious, and there are people who do that, but we also need a group of people who focus on these smaller micro businesses that are basically not just exporting services but exporting software, because I mean we've seen this in India. There has been an explosion of growth in SaaS companies over the last 10 to 15 years. We haven't seen that in Pakistan. Why do you think that hasn't happened in Pakistan yet? What do you think lacks in Pakistan? I mean, in terms of potentially becoming a SaaS factory.
In India, I believe there are more than there was an article on CNN as well that there are more than 1,000 companies who are selling SaaS, and India SaaS business is expected to be at $1 trillion by end of 2030. One good thing about India is they also have a local consumption of SaaS. I mean, they are more than there are a lot of people over there, like 1,000 million people over there, maybe more. So and 350 million people are middle class, and there are a lot of small businesses as well. I believe in Pakistan, one of the mistakes everyone does is, if they want to create a SaaS business, they will start with a HR solution for the local market, and that's where they get it wrong, because people don't, in Pakistan, we don't have the habit of paying for the software, unfortunately. So I believe we need, let's say if I'm running a company and I want to build a solution, we should look for building a solution for companies outside Pakistan. That's number one. And we don't have very good role models as well. Like who's our role model in Pakistan? Ubisoft.
You're trying to become one?
Inshallah. So
you are one. I mean, already. I mean, you're at $3 million annual recurring revenue.
So I believe we need more role models like RepairDesk, where so people can get inspiration, say we can do this as well. And there's a lot of opportunities available. Another advice I always try to give is that to try to work in a niche market where let's say if I want to build a CRM, I'm competing against HubSpot, Salesforce, and Pipedrive. Their solutions are really streamlined. Don't go for a horizontal market, go for a vertical market where, let's say you're building a CRM for printing press company, or you're building a CRM for a clothing store, or things like that.
Start very small and then grow from there.
Exactly. And you should be you need to have a clarity on what you're trying to achieve, or just take an existing product and try to replicate it. Another advice I give to founders is from day one, have a website and focus on SEO. Paid ads cost you a lot of money. Just try to, that's the lowest hanging fruit.
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I keep sharing this as well. I don't understand why so many founders, especially the ones who have VC money, don't invest in SEO. I fail to understand this. This is the lowest hanging fruit. You just need to, I mean, forget link building and all of that. Even if you don't do that, even if you just crack the on-site SEO right, and you are maybe in a space like as you mentioned, if you're in a niche, there's a very good chance that you will start ranking very quickly. But unfortunately, very few founders in Pakistan do it right. I mean, I can share a few examples from Pakistan, the VC-backed startups that are really good at it. I've previously written about it on LinkedIn as well. There's Marham that does it really, really well. Most of their web traffic comes from search engines. There's Lam, which we were basically competing with, which is a fashion marketplace. Their SEO is excellent. They're doing it really well. And then obviously there are some, B2B companies that are trying to sell their services or products abroad, like yourself, like RepairDesk, that are working on it. But I completely agree with it. The founders, paid acquisition is the easy thing to do. You put in money, and you would probably get a customer for the money you are spending in terms of paid acquisition. SEO is not very difficult, but you have to be very patient with SEO. I mean, you invest your time and effort into it, and then you wait. You cannot expect it to start ranking. You cannot expect to see your site ranking very quickly. So I think maybe it's from that. But yeah, I completely agree with
Yeah, I
this.
mean, building a marketing funnel so customers, marketing and sales funnel is important. And since we don't have a lot of expertise, and this is not just with SaaS. If you see companies who are selling software, they will do everything but SEO. So that's the lowest hanging fruit, I would say. And
For inspiration, can you share how much of RepairDesk's new customers in the last 1 to 2 years came from came from search engines?
Sure.
I mean, if you can share the breakdown, whatever numbers you're comfortable sharing.
Sure. So for the past 8-9 years, since we have been operating, we have invested like $25 to $30,000 on paid marketing on Google Ads. For the past 2 to 3 years, we get about between 150 to 250 trial signups every month, and all of this is organic. So we don't spend a single money on paid acquisition. We give that money to our marketing team for doing a good job.
Right. So the entire customer base that you have today, or the entire set of new customers that are coming on RepairDesk are mainly coming from the SEO efforts that you have made, plus the referrals that your existing customers would be making. Or is there anything else that you include in organic?
So we do have partnership with some of the self-empowered suppliers. So
Right.
yes, and we have attributed that data as well. So, but everything is organic. We don't spend money on acquiring customers. So yes, one of the good ways is to work with industry partners as your business grows. But from day one, focus on SEO.
Right. Okay. Great piece of advice. You are at $3 million annual recurring revenue, and you're obviously profitable. I wouldn't get into the details of how much money you're making in terms of profit. Maybe you wouldn't want to share that. But how much have you grown in the last 2 to 3 years, and what are some of your biggest goals for the next 2 to 3 years for RepairDesk?
So during the last year, we had a growth of about 30% year over year.
Are you happy with that?
I was happy with that. This year has been slow due to macroeconomic condition and due to some of the decisions we took earlier. And now we are just trying to, for the next 6 to 12 months, our focus is just to streamline and digitize our business and build process, have policies and SOPs in place. So if we want to hire people outside Pakistan, we have the right processes. For the next 2 to 3 years, our goal is to diversify our business, where we are not just working with cell phone repair. We are working with businesses that does jewelry repair or watch repair, or let's say they don't have a physical store, but people ship them equipment to them, and then they mail it back to them. We signed up eyeglass manufacturer Randolph. It's a big company in the US. And we are building a solution by partnering with them. So our focus is to diversify our business slightly to acquire mid-market customer at a higher price point, and we add value into their business. And the goal is to grow to $10 million in annual recurring revenue by end of 2026.
So in the next 3 years?
In the next 3 years, yes.
Right. Well, that essentially means you want to triple your business in the next 3 years. And you think you can do that, given everything that you have at your disposal?
I believe we can. We just need to focus.
You wouldn't need to raise capital for this?
We already have a decent amount of capital. It's a cash flow business,
right.
Cash flow positive business, and we don't need capital for that.
Right, and you don't even intend to raise capital, anytime soon?
We don't plan on doing that for the next foreseeable future.
Right, okay, perfect. What has been your biggest regret as a founder?
That's an interesting one. Two of the things which I feel I could have done differently is invest in technology and found co-founders earlier who were as crazy as me and as vested in me as me. So so yeah, I mean, other than that, God has been very kind, and I believe we could have done a better job in building a technology and just really selling it.
Right. Anyone looking to build a software as a service business from Pakistan, what would be your one piece of advice for them? I mean, apart from investing in SEO and going niche, you've shared these two earlier. Anything else that you'd like to share?
Follow me on LinkedIn because I write about how to build a SaaS business out of Pakistan.
Okay, that's
But I won't say one. I have few. I feel like start with the research part. Talk to customers first to see whether there's actually a need for it. Let's say if I'm in Pakistan, I want to build a POS system for restaurants, and I need to see, okay, why do I need to do that? Work in a niche market where there's not a lot of competition. You're building it just for 5,000 customers. There's just like focus on small business. There are 33 million small businesses in US that contributes toward 99% of the economy. That's what I read online. But in North America, there are 60 million, and then there's in the entire world there's like 500, 600 million businesses. So small businesses. A lot of people that try to build a solution, they try to build for enterprise. Enterprise is different. Small business buying cycle is very small, and you talk to the owner, he like it, he will buy your software. So we're focused on small business because no one is focused towards them. I mean, there's Slack, there's Discord, all of them is focused towards bigger companies, IT companies. So focus, try to solve problem for a plumber or a technician or order-based shop and things like that. And then from day one, focus on SEO. If you don't know it, have someone in your team who knows it. Learn how to sell the software, because if someone comes to your website and sign up for a trial, you know how to sell the software. I was talking to a company who recently built a really cool software. He came to me yesterday for an advice. They have 2 paying customers. Now they don't know. They have invested probably good amount of money in building that software, but they don't know how to sell it. So have someone in your team who knows how to sell it. I believe the best founding team is, let's say, that's how people start successful companies, in my opinion. Let's say I'm working at Google. I'm having challenges committing a code, and then I look around and I don't find anything, and I get so frustrated. I try to build it myself, and then I have a friend who works at Salesforce, and I say, I'm building this thing. Why don't you join me? So you need to have your founding team needs to be very strong, where there's one person who's very good at coding, there's one person who's very good at selling, but most importantly, you have one person who's very good at spending money. Because one of the mistakes founders make is once they start making money, they start buying flashy things. One of the things they will do is they buy a new iPhone or a flashy car and things like that.
Or even, for their business, they'd spend money on things that are perhaps not adding to the top line, or even, anything else of the business. I mean, for example, subscriptions that, don't need, you are just paying for them.
Exactly. So, I mean, I still drive a beaten car today, even though maybe I can afford a Porsche in Pakistan. I have a decent home. I have a good home.
Yeah.
And then I still have an iPhone 11 Pro Max. One of my customers gifted me iPhone 13. It's been 6-7 months. I haven't transferred my data. I don't know how to do that. Okay. I'll find someone who does. But yeah, I mean, staying focused.
That's unfortunate for somebody who sells software to cell phone repair shops. I mean, you should know how to transfer data from.
I always tell people that I know few things and know them really well.
Right.
I mean, even if I have to put an alarm on my phone, I search, okay, how do I do that? I mean, every time I try to learn very few things and I'm good at sales, I'm good at partnerships. Not a lot of people are good at that. And that's who I am.
Right. Thank you so much, Usman. It was a pleasure having you. I really enjoyed the chat, really learned a lot, and we really look forward to seeing you more often. I mean, at podcasts like these, at events like the ones they host at COLABS, and we look forward to seeing RepairDesk hit that 10 million ARR milestone in 3 years. Best of luck with that.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It was a pleasure sharing what we have achieved, and let's do another podcast in 3 years when we hit 10 million.
We'll definitely. Maybe you hit that sooner, so we're up for that. We'll do that very soon.
I'm in no hurry.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. This was Usman Butt sharing his journey of building RepairDesk into a $3 million ARR business from Pakistan with Pakistani talent selling in the US market. We look forward to welcoming you to another episode very soon. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Swivel and Airlift both launched in Pakistan around the same time.
Right.
And when that happened, you had two players with a lot of money. Both wanted to throw the other one out of the country.
Right.
And in that process, suppliers were paid 3x at a time of what market rates were. Customers were paying maybe 10% of what they should have been paying or what their propensity to pay even was.